Hello there. I finally did it. I finally watched a Disney movie that I haven't watched before. And it was WALL-E. I decided to give myself today a couple hours break to finally watch the iconic movie that I've been playing the game, the Disney Dreamlight Valley, for a while, and I've encountered the WALL-E character before in other games, and I've heard and saw snippets and bits, so I know general story of WALL-E, but it was very, very, very incredible experience to actually see my man in a full 1 hour and 40 minutes film. And let me tell you right now, honestly, I think it might be one of my favorite Disney movies now. It's just this good. And you know, in my opinion, what makes it good is that they managed to convey so many messages and so many emotions without barely saying any words. And the robots, we have two main robots, Eve and WALL-E. They cannot talk. They can say specific words barely, but most of the emotions come from their body language, from their eyes, from their eyebrows. And it's probably very, very difficult for animators to make them as expressive as human characters who can actually can have full-blown facial expressions, can have different voice intonations. It's so much more difficult to do in robots, but I think they absolutely nailed it. So let me tell you about the most favorite things I had from the movie. If you haven't watched it, it's gonna have a little spoilers. Not too much, but quite a few, and I highly recommend you watch it yourself because it's a phenomenal movie and it has very powerful message. And in the end, I want to ask a couple questions to a general audience. It's more of a some things that I was trying to figure out how to explain. Once again, I fully understand it's a cartoon, but I'm curious to know your opinions on certain things in the movie. So let's get right into it. First of all, I felt incredibly stupid a couple of times because I finally saw all the items from the Scrooge shop and all the references from the game that I didn't understand before. I saw them in the movie and I finally understood, and it made me realize how I made some of the stupidest comments before without knowing the context of the movie. So yes, the music that you hear in a WALL-E's house is from the movie, and it's just it feels like it gave me more appreciation for Disney Dreamlight Valley and the way they portrayed WALL-E, because it's just spot on. It pays so much respect to the movie. Everything has incredible resemblance to the actual movie, and I really appreciate it. Well done, Gameloft. Meal in a cup machine. Now that is an interesting thing.
Time for lunch in a cup.
I literally just got it in the Scrooge shop a few days ago, and I made a comment why is everything in a cup? It makes no sense. It does make sense now. After I watched the movie, it actually makes sense now. However, I have a very curious question. If all the plants on the Earth died, how are they making food on their starship? I've been asking this question pretty much most of the movie. If there is no vegetation left, at least to the knowledge of the ship, so I'm assuming since they were so excited about one little plant, it means there's probably not a single vegetation on the whole ship. So how on earth do they have French fries? Because French fries come from potatoes, and potato is a plant. And also, there is a lot of food that they eat that actually comes from plants or animals. So I've been trying to figure it out the whole movie. How do these people get food? And why is it in a cup? Is it some kind of synthetic, what is it made of? Maybe there was an answer in the movie, I just missed it. So please let me know in the comments, what do you think? Where do their food come from? Also, another question that I've been asking myself is why, in the beginning of the movie, the guy, the president of the company, he's like a real live character. And like all the messages from that guy throughout the movie, he appears as a real live person. And yet all other characters in the movie are cartoon characters. So why wasn't the president a cartoon character itself? Does it imply that everybody turned, like, maybe there's like a deep metaphor that everyone turned into like very simple, very basic, like almost cartoony versions of themselves compared to real people that used to live hundreds of years ago? Maybe that's the message, but like I was very curious about it. So let me know in the comments, what do you think? So Wall-E, it seems like the only trash bot. Well, that might sound rude, but let's be honest. That was the primary objective of the robot, to clean the planet. So the plan, if I understand the plan correctly, people absolutely destroyed the Earth, buried it in trash, didn't take care of it, so they decided to just pack up and go. And they left a fleet of robots behind to try and clean up the Earth and then potentially come back. So if that's the case, why is Wall-E the only robot, like actually living robot on the planet? How come everybody else is dead? One of the explanations I can imagine is that Wall-E is very resourceful, so he has a lot of stuff in his little house that could potentially be used to repair himself, as he like there is plenty of moments in the movie where Wall-E gets repaired with the stuff inside his trailer. So maybe that's why he is the only one left, because he is like the most genius robot who knows, like, who hoards a bunch of stuff, and then like if something happens to him, he can use that stuff to fix himself. That could explain it, but I'm curious to know your opinion. So Wall-E is absolutely the most adorable thing ever. And the moments, like, when he falls in love with Eve, it's just so good. Like, seeing the developing arc of Wall-E and Eve's relationship is just so refreshing. Another question I was getting throughout watching the movie is, so a bunch of people were on a spaceship for hundreds of years. How do they have children? How do they repopulate? Like, no offense to them, but they couldn't walk in the end. They could barely walk. It didn't seem like they got off their chairs at all. And they didn't know anything about holding hands, dancing. I bet they never had an intimate relationship with anybody. How do they have kids? How do they have children on the ship? That question was in my mind also throughout watching the movie. Once again, I'm just curious. This is kind of personality that I have. If I see something I don't understand, I need to get to the bottom of it. It doesn't mean that I didn't like it if I couldn't explain it. I fully give it a credit. It's a cartoon, and I don't expect for everything to like have a logical explanation, because it's a cartoon. And I enjoyed immensely, but I still, like, I like to dissect certain moments, and I want to know your opinion. What do you think would be the most logical explanation? So many items, like pretty much every item in Disney Dreamlight Valley from Wall-E's universe was in the movie. Except one. I may have not noticed it, but where was the bathtub? I feel like I was paying a lot of attention trying to figure out if he had it, but I could not see a bathtub. Because, well, first of all, the bathtub would have flowers in it, according to Disney Dreamlight Valley. And According to the movie, there was no vegetation. Like, there was only one plant that Wally found. And there was no other greenery at all. So, where did that bathtub came from? That's another question that I have. Let me know in the comments. What are your opinions? So, let's talk a little bit about Eve. So, once again, it seems like there's a lot of robots like her, but she is the only one who actually interacts with anything throughout the movie. So I think it was made intentional. I think it's the same thing about Wall-E. It implies that there is more of them, but they don't show any interaction, just to focus all the attention on one example of the bot, Wall-E. And the same with Eve. There is technically lots of other Eves, but since these two have names and these two interact, I feel like having more of them roaming around would be very distracting and confusing. So that's why they did it, and I think now it was actually a good solution. We do have a couple giant Wall-Es in the end, like on the spaceship. That was pretty fun. So I'm wondering, why didn't they have more of those on Earth? Because it seemed like the place was like a giant trash pile. So having those giant Wall-Es would probably clean up things faster than smaller Wall-Es. Also, another question. Okay, this video is gonna be pretty much not me reviewing the movie, but me asking questions and trying to figure things out. So if the point was to clean up the Earth, the only thing Wall-E does is just puts trash inside his body, compacts it into a cube, and puts it back. So the question is, does it actually clean the Earth? The trash is still there. It's just compacted into cubes. What was the solution to actually get rid of the trash? Because just compacting it into the cubes is not going to fix the atmosphere. It's not going to fix the pollution. It's not going to fix anything. It's still there. It's just in a different form. So I wonder if there was maybe some other robots who would get rid of it somehow. I would like to see Wall-E 2 and to see them actually, like humans and robots together, clean up the Earth. That would be absolutely incredible. All right, enough questions. I think those are my main questions. So I'm looking forward to having a discussion in the comments. Now, let's talk about a few other things. I am very... so this is one of the movies that doesn't really have an antagonist. There is no villain threatening anybody. I guess the antagonist in this movie is human nature and the way that people treat the planet. So this movie has a lot of powerful messages. There was one line that actually gave me goosebumps, and in my opinion, that line encompasses most of the movie. Okay, there was two moments. One moment is when the captain said,
"I don't want to survive. I want to live."
And that was like, let's go. I don't know why. Initially, when I saw the guy, I felt like it's a good thing that most of the people in the movie, you can see them like being entrenched in their like social media stuff, like simple life. They just sit, eat, chat with people online and all that stuff. And the captain is the same. They're all lazy. They all got used to the lazy lifestyle. But as soon as there is little small catalyst to change that, they jump on it. I feel like that's not what that wouldn't be a case in real life. I feel like people who are that deep into that lifestyle, they would resist anything to try and shake that. So it felt very refreshing in the movie to see that people still maintained their humanity and their will to do things differently. And that's like a very good message. It means that people shouldn't settle. They should always strive to be the best versions of themselves that they can. And like it really resonated in this movie. Another powerful moment was when the captain puts some water on a plant and he has a realization that nobody cared for you. And then in his brain it snaps that that's exactly what happened to Earth.
Just need someone to look after you, that's all.
People didn't care for it, and that's why it got buried in trash and in crisis. So that like gives him motivation to actually override the bots. Also, that's another question. Why on earth the bots are hostile and try not to get people back to Earth? Like, why would previous leaders program it that way? They have a whole program, the Eve robot, that's the sole purpose of to find plants or any signs of life on Earth. So why would they have that program, and yet if the signs of life were found, they would have another program in place to stop people from acting on it? Like, if they for some reason, like, in the end decided that Earth was unsavable and they don't want people to come back to Earth ever, why on earth did they like have this program of searching for life on Earth? It's just another thing that didn't make sense to me, but it made it work. It created a lot of opportunities to discover the characters much deeper, so I really appreciate it, and I feel like it's a small price to pay for a few really, really powerful moments we had in the end of the movie. In the end, when Wally gets his memory back, which once again probably doesn't make sense from a logical point, because if she replaced his memory chip or whatever, he should not be able to... Doesn't matter. There were two freaking robots holding hands and then touching and in love. That was like... I might have shed a tear or two. That was so freaking beautiful. My God. Like, what else do you want from a good movie? Powerful emotions. Powerful message. Incredible animation. And just... lots and lots of like moments where you like rooting for certain characters. It was great. It was a great movie overall. In my opinion, it goes into the top 3 of the Disney movies that I've seen. Number 1, well, I don't know if I can give number 1 or number 2, but top 3 right now, in my opinion, are gonna be Frozen 1, WALL-E, and DuckTales. I know my list is so random, but I haven't watched a lot of them. I have Turning Red downloaded, and I'm gonna watch it tomorrow, and I'm gonna make a review when I'm done. If you want to see it, I hear Turning Red is extremely controversial. People either hate it or love it, so I'm curious. It piqued my interest. I want to see what it's all about, and I want to give you my opinion. So, what do you think about WALL-E? Let me know in the comments. Beautiful, beautiful movie. If you haven't watched, highly recommend. All right, absolutely fantastic movie. Tell me in the comments how much you would rate it on a scale from 1 to 10. I'm gonna say I feel like there is more to the story that can be explored. I think WALL-E deserves a sequel. Did anybody hear if they're working on the second part of WALL-E? Because, like, imagine another movie when both WALL-E, Eve, and all these people trying to actually save the Earth, and there's like a lot of, maybe there's like a bunch of robots that went rogue or something. There's so many cool possibilities with this story. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Huge thanks to all of our supporters. You guys are epic. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.